Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so happy to have the twin sister, the powerhouse woman online with me, live assurance with Sister LaNelle. I want to say LaNelle, I don't want to pronounce all the name because I can't. It's so amazing to have her here with me. I'm so happy. I've been looking for a way to have her for a long time. I'm so happy. So, my sister, how are you? How are you doing?
I am doing well. I'm just doing the best that I can daily. You know, we're
Mm-hmm.
over here in the US, like a number of other places, kind of sheltering in place.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you all know, after a while, that can get tiresome, and we're ready to run outside. But I'm hanging in there. A lot of
Wow.
prayer, a lot of prayer right
Wow.
now.
Please, everybody, as you're watching, please share as much as you can. Please share. I'm going to share, I swear, in all my pages. I really want everybody to share that somebody is going to be blessed with a life experience, a life story that she's going to share with us. I can't wait. I'm trying to, let's share as much as we can.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, sister, can you please tell more about, our viewer about yourself? Who is LaNelle? What LaNelle do? What is what's LaNelle? I want you to share with us.
Okay, well, certainly, I'd love to do that. I'd like to say hello to all of your viewers as well, and again, say that I'm just honored to be here. But LaNelle is a servant. I mean, that really sums me up. She's someone who has taken some negatives that have gone on in her life, and just
Mm.
with the power of God, turn that all around to try to be an influencer for positive change. And I can say I'm originally from Iowa, for those of you who are out and abroad. That's in the middle of the United States. It's a very,
Wow.
very small state. It's
Wow.
very rural, a lot of farmland.
Wow.
And so I grew up where there wasn't a lot of big city opportunities. Um, but when I was old enough to leave out of there, I knew I had big city dreams and wanted to be in places where
Yeah.
there was a lot of other opportunities, and you could interact with a lot more
Mhm.
people than was available at that time. So I moved my family here. I have two children. Wanted to make sure
Wow.
they had a lot of the opportunities as well, and have been here in Dallas, Texas since 2001, November of 2001.
Wow.
And I started out as an accountant, did a lot of accounting work, and my daughter started modeling in Dallas. And we were very surprised because she started out playing basketball and she flipped and went into modeling.
Uh-huh.
So
From
the
basketball to
modeling,
modeling.
yeah, we was like, what is this? But she's beautiful girl, very smart. It did her well. And
Mm-hmm.
so in managing her career for 8 years, doors started opening for me that I would have never
Wow.
imagined. I started meeting a lot of different people, networking with higher ups, if you will. And pretty soon I found myself kind of more in the entertainment business.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like doing promotion work, marketing work, and that sort of thing. The accounting business is kind of, I mean, it's kind of boring, sitting there doing numbers all the time. It's kind
Mm-hmm.
of pretty boring for me. And the more I worked in the entertainment industry with her, the more I realized I like to party plan and do event
Wow.
planning.
Wow.
So after a while,
That's where the idea came from.
that's where Divine came from. Yes. So
Wow.
I then launched my own business doing event planning. And I love for people to anything that'll bring families together
Together.
and help them have beautiful memories.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where that came from. I was locked in behind my domestic violence background. I did have some relationships over a time frame that exposed me to domestic violence, but I didn't realize until much later what that meant for me in my life. So as I was doing my event planning, I met Wanda McKinley, and with We Are Survivors Foundation. And I reached out to her and one day just kind of told my story to her, and been working with the foundation ever since. So my crusade now is to bring as much awareness and to help women realize that regardless of your domestic violence background, I've dealt with what I call stranger dangers as well, where I've had a stranger accost me. You don't have to be locked in that. You don't have to be locked in the negatives that come from that. And so here I am right now. I'm just, I'm still working with the foundation. I co-host a talk show with them. I've got my own business, obviously, still, although we can't really do a lot of party planning right now because we can't.
Yeah, because of the situation now.
Yeah, we can't all be together, but I'm an author, a speaker, a life coach. You know, there's some other things I wanted to be known for too, not just the party plan. So I let some of my other gifts come in and open the door in some other avenues, but it's really just about working with strong women like yourself and crusading to help change the world for the better in any way that we can, right?
Wow.
So, in a nutshell.
Wow. I'm so happy. I'm really happy. There's something you said in your website that you always had a big city dream. What do you mean by that?
Well, I used to want to model myself. That's what I aspired to do as I was growing up. And where I'm from is very rural. Like I said, there's a lot of farmland. We still have Amish people. Are you familiar with that? Yeah. Amish people that do horse and buggy. So we still have people who live like that in that part of the country.
Wow.
And so there wasn't opportunities where you would say big scouts weren't coming to where I was from to find talent. You know, and big city dreams for me was being somewhere where there were skyscrapers and restaurants all over the place, and women were suited up and powerful like Gabrielle Union when she's on TV. You know, that's what I was looking for in my mind. That equated to the big city life for me.
Wow. I like that. When I saw it from the website, I said, yeah, big city dream. I really want to have some. What you really mean about it? I got it now.
Yeah.
In your website, I saw that you love community service. Tell us more about what do you mean by community service? Do you love helping more people, as you said before? Of course, that's some of the questions you mentioned, but I just want to ask you again before we go deeper into the question. You say you love community service. Tell me more, tell our viewers, what do you mean by that? Do you love helping more people in which way?
Yes. I'm an empath. I can see a wounded bird and it's going to break my heart. I'm going to cry. And I'm very easily emotional. Like I love people. And when I say that I'm a servant, I believe that God placed it in me. When I tell you the most random people always gravitate towards me. And we can talk, and before I know, they've told me their whole life story. And these are perfect strangers. So I knew from early on that I had a little bit, I guess, of a God-given talent or a gift to not look at people and judge them based on their circumstances, and to want to help them, you know, if there was some sort of need, regardless of what that need was, if I had the power to do so. So it's not even a thing for me where, yes, domestic violence is a very big deal for me because I can relate to that firsthand. But homeless people, you know, just in anyone who would need something, the mother down the street who all of a sudden can't pay the bill, you know, or just whatever, you know, and wanting to mentor the girls and help them understand, you know, the red flags and the things to avoid. And so I don't know that I have a particular lane sometimes, because again, there's such a need for everything. There's so much going on. It's ridiculous. There's just so much going on. And the enemy is constantly at work. So I just, you know, I just pray and I just let God use me as he sees fit.
Amen. Wow. Amen. I love that. Wow. May God bless you, really, because it takes somebody to feel the pains of others before you go, and before you could go forward to want to help somebody, because some people believe that you have to be in the same situation before you can help. So when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's really, I really want you to share about how do you love the community service, how do you love to help other people. And it's so amazing to hear the way you explain it. It's really amazing. You got married after high school, and how was it your situation at that time? Because you say that you wasn't sure of what to do in your life at that time.
Yes. I will say this was the beginning of my firsthand experience with domestic violence. I had been exposed to it before that time, watching my mother endure at the hands of my stepfather. But then as I grew up, probably having a warped sense of self, what self-love was, because I've watched my mother keep dealing with this individual, even though he was domestic, he was doing hateful things to her. I started finding myself as I got into 16, 17, and a little fast before my time, dating men that were much older than I was. Wow. And so around 17, I became pregnant with my daughter after meeting her father, who, it was almost like a shotgun wedding. My family, they don't believe in abortion, and I don't either, but I'm saying at that time, there wasn't any discussion of option. It was, you're pregnant, you're getting married. And so I quickly found myself fast forwarded into adulthood, and I was a child still, really. So I married, obviously went through with that marriage, and within a year and a half of that time, found myself packing my daughter up and fleeing my hometown because of his past catching up with him, which was drug related. He was 10 years older than me. So you're looking at someone who's 26, 27 years old, who just married a 17-year-old girl. So I dealt with, trying to understand, I have this brand new baby, trying to understand that, trying to deal with marriage. I don't know the dynamics at that particular time of a God ordained marriage and the blessings that come with that, and knowing the power of prayer, and knowing how to cultivate the proper foundation. So it's a lot. That's a lot for a teenager, at the time. But the one thing I knew was that I have this beautiful daughter. Out of all this chaos, out of all this chaos, I have this beautiful daughter. Yes, and I just told myself, I'm gonna do the best that I can, regardless of what it takes, to be the best mother, possible. So yes, it was a very short-term marriage, due to the physical abuse. I had overstepped boundaries a few times, asking too many questions when he would disappear for days at a time, or there was just a number of things. And I've actually, my book, it's all in my book that comes out at the end of the year. So, but the marriage was short-lived. Again, I just had to pick up my baby, pack my car up, and I left my hometown. And I've never been back there since, as far as living there.
Wow.
So after that point, it took me a little while. And then I met my son's father, and we got married. We were together for 15 years.
Wow.
And he really showed me love. But the catch-22 was, I walked away from that relationship with no explanation.
Wow.
And it was because, again, that fallout of the domestic violence, not understanding the dynamics of marriage. I had a perfect man, and I walked away after all that time. And it was very rough, because I had to explain to my family, who were like, well, is he going upside your head? Is he, what is he doing? He takes care of home. He's a breadwinner. He loves your daughter. He's raised her. What would make you just walk away? Disarray. Disarray. And so, so there was some other incidences in between that relationship and my beautiful marriage now, but it's the life lesson that prepares you. And if you don't have the proper role models, this is what I'm trying to tell the young girls I deal with. If you don't have the proper role models to help you understand good foundation or what respect and love looks like, you're not going to recognize when you have a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, so that's
Wow.
what happened with that marriage.
Wow. I like that. How do you discover yourself? How do you understand that I'm able to understand my purpose in life? How do you discover your real you?
I discovered it fairly late in life because obviously with, like I said, the first marriage, and then the second marriage is how I relocated to Dallas. And when I walked away from that, I didn't have family here. So there was a lot of mistakes made, kind of a trial and error. But when I started cultivating my relationship with God and learning more,
Amen.
that's when it started revealing itself to me. And then there would be another short-term 6-year relationship in between that time that stripped me to rock bottom. I lost everything. And in that time, found myself on my knees. And I think that's when I cried out the most, like, Lord, I just lost my home, my car, my everything in this relationship. And I'm semi-homeless at this point because I'm staying between friends. And when I literally cried out to him, I could feel the Spirit just
Lord.
filling me up and just building me. And so
Wow.
it's such a beautiful thing. And I can feel the presence where anytime I talk about it, I can totally feel the presence because it was the turning point. It was a turning point. And it was that moment, it was like, LaNelle, are you going to keep making these same mistakes? Or are you going to listen to me tapping you on the shoulder? And I submitted. I completely submitted. And I just said, Father, I'm going to walk every day.
Yes,
I'm not going to plan my days. I'm going to wake up by your grace. And I need you to lead me where you want me to go.
Yes, Lord.
So that's exactly
Don't
what
mind me.
happened.
Don't mind me. I'm very emotional person. I'm like this. Like, God, please help me, Lord.
It's okay. And he led me to you. He led us all to each other, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people out there, a lot of women, don't mind these tears. I'm like this.
No,
a lot of women out there are still going through a lot of things that they still don't understand how to discover who they are. So they're still running in the same circle. They can't come out from it. That's why when I went to your website, with all what you went through, you're still standing there. So it makes me to ask you, like, how can she discover herself and still standing here today? Yeah. And I'm happy for what you're saying.
Part of it was wanting to do better and break generational curses. There was a lot of abuse in my family. My grandmother has numerous daughters, and there's a lot of, I mean, going back from my grandmother to my great grandmother, stories of the abuse. And if I stayed, I just kept thinking to myself, if I stay in this cycle and I don't really pay attention and try to make the change, my daughter is going to take those same footsteps. And I refuse. The enemy you just can't have her. The enemy just cannot have her. So we're going to try to change things around and break these curses so that my daughter doesn't endure. Now I have a beautiful grandbaby, a daughter, granddaughter.
I love that.
You know, and so now these things are manifesting in them. I can see that, you know, my daughter, my graduation and going through school was delayed because I was pregnant. My daughter graduated early. You know, I had her at 17 years old. She had my grandbaby well into her 20s. I mean, it's just, it's little things like that, but it still, to me, means a lot because she's not walking in my same footsteps.
Amen.
So we just have to want to make some sort of change for ourselves and recognize. And it's hard to do sometimes, to know that you're the problem. See, I was the problem. I was the problem. I kept attracting the same relationships.
Wow.
Girl, because he's fine, but he ain't no good. And you're still trying to, you know, you kept attracting the same relationships and living kind of ungodly and not doing what's right. And it stripped me. It really, really did. And when I got to that point where I had to call on him and say, you know what, I'm trying to be a good person, but I don't know, Lord, I need you to show me.
Mm,
Father,
mm.
I didn't have that role model here on earth. I need you to show me
Amen.
what I need to do. It
Yes,
changed
Lord.
my life. It changed
Amen.
my
Thank you,
life.
Jesus. Yes,
Yes.
Lord. Yes, Lord.
So
Wow.
he
Wow.
brought me my God-given husband. He brought me, showed me, literally showed me who my husband was.
Wow.
And
Yes.
so
I love
now
that.
today I'm just better. Yeah, I'm better.
Wow. Wow. I love what you just say now, that it show you who is your husband was. Because
Hmm.
when I told somebody that God showed me that is Deborah, that is your husband. Some people believe that it's not possible.
Mm, mm,
And I said that as far as you are with God and you believe in him, you pray, it's supernatural being, the one who make heaven and who made you. So he has
hmm.
ordained and he has already prepared your purpose, your life on this earth. So he
Yes.
will never abandon you, no matter what you went through or what you're going through. He will still bring
Hmm.
you in a right position as far as you understand who he is.
Yeah, that's so
Wow,
right.
I
And
love that.
it's so true. It's so true. Like our story is so uncanny. When I tell
Mm,
it, people cannot even believe that
wow.
these things happened the way that they did.
Mm,
And I'll give you a little, I don't know if you can see this in my hand. I'm holding
yes,
this
yes,
tiny little crucifix here.
yeah.
I found this in downtown Dallas laying on the ground. Just laying
Wow.
on the ground one day. I just saw something shiny out of the corner of my eye and was like, what is that? I'm looking around because I don't know if I just hit the lotto. I
Yeah.
don't want everybody to know, right? So I,
Wow.
I
Wow.
kind of got over there and picked it up, and it's like, okay. Well, there's some other little details I'm going to leave out because that book is all in there. And I don't want to be the
Wow.
spoiler alert. But when I met this man again, because I had seen him years before and he never saw me, when we had the opportunity to have a conversation, he was carrying the exact same crucifix. It looks just like this. And
Wow.
he had found his at a thrift store years before we even knew each other.
Jesus.
So that, in addition to some other little tidbits, yeah, it was we had the
Wow.
same childhood. We had the same childhood nickname.
Wow.
How does that happen? We have the same,
Woo!
our birthstones are the same color. That
Wow.
doesn't happen. So yeah, you have to, when the book comes and you be
I
able to
can't wait
read
for
all
that.
those other details,
Wow.
you'll be very,
Wow.
very shocked.
Wow.
Very shocked.
Wow. Wow.
We
Thank
just have to be
God.
ready.
This
We
is
have to be ready.
amazing. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. I saw something that also I want to ask you on your website. You say, I love the word that you said the plate is full, that your plate is full.
Mhm.
What do you mean by your plate is full?
Um, I mean, everything that I could need is just on it. I keep myself busy. I try, not to worry about things that are out of my control.
Mm,
You know, I have a well-rounded scenario going on as far as my active endeavors, my projects, working with the
mm,
foundation, hosting the talk show there. Like, so my
mm,
businesses, my entrepreneurship, that's one aspect. It's almost like when you look at a plate, you have your sections. You might have your meat here, you have your potatoes here or whatever. And I know all the good food. I've seen all the good food that comes from
mm-hmm,
over there where you're at.
mm-hmm.
So you know what that looks like. And
Absolutely.
when I break into sections, the parts of my life, it's full, it's overflowing, it's
Amen.
full.
I
So
like when I saw
between
it because when I went to your website, I'm reading about your profile about you. When I saw the place is full with all what you went through and the way you thought that I mean you don't know what to do at that time, that you are not sure of what to do, and you are thinking that maybe you started late, but
Mhm.
seeing your plate is full with all what you went through and you still have your dream comes true, I
Yes.
was like, yes, I love this.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, I started really late, and again, that just comes by way of entering into relationships too early.
Mm,
I feel like, when you're kind of a board scenario, like I said, it's a very country, one horse little state. And because there's not a lot of outlets for the kids. The majority of the males are locked up early or in prison or in jail, or drugs. Drugs are a problem because there's no outlets. The young women there, of course, now you're engaging in sexual activity, you're drinking too early, you're having kids. Now you're forced into relationships that, you know, and you're stuck in, and you're just stagnant, and there's nowhere really for you to go. So having that kind of start out as what I was exposed to, I didn't think beyond the city limit. You know, I didn't really, I mean, yes, I had these big city dreams, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, so what? You know, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be right here doing what everybody else is doing. And I started late in more or less just discovering. When I left the 15-year relationship with the perfect man who gave me the son, again, it was a question mark of why am I doing this? But I knew at that time, after I've been in heavy prayer, that something was amiss within myself. I didn't know who I was. Even in the 15 years, I was just being a homemaker and doing what everybody expected me to be doing. So, you know, I knew that I didn't know what I really liked, or what my goals were in life, or where I needed to be. And so walking away from that, it was a letdown for him. And it was a very painful time for our families. It was painful for me as well. But I knew if I didn't make that decision at that particular time, I would have never known who I was as a woman.
Yes, Lord Jesus.
I never would have. So a lot of ups and downs, I'm just thankful. I'm so thankful.
Yes,
I'm
Lord.
so thankful. There's so many scenarios that I've been in that just really I could have been into drugs. You know, my first marriage was drug situation. I could have fell down that path. Or you know, when I did talk about a stranger danger, where I had a gentleman jump on me from behind and try to rape or sodomize me from behind. This was someone who was a so-called friend. I could have allowed these different things that happened to me to take me to the gutter. And that's why there's power in broken things, and why I preach that, and why I want women to know you do not have to be stuck in those scenarios. That's not who you are.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, not who you are.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, sister. I love that. You know, with all what you went through, and you're still standing here, and you still work with one of the celebrity in the US, Steve Irwin Foundation. And you know, with what I read from your website, and also, but look at how the life and the door was opened for you.
Yes.
That your dream coming true. You continue moving forward. You work with Steve Irwin Foundation in US.
Yes. Which is interesting, because my first nice major check from my business came from Steve Harvey Foundation, and it's just framed. I was like, oh my gosh, this opportunity is amazing. Being able to, and you know what, and let me backtrack a little. That exposure also helped me discover more about my philanthropy. Steve Harvey's foundation, they do something called the Boys Mentoring Program. And he has an application process, and they fly a number of boys in from all over the United States whose mothers are, you know, having some difficulty with them, regardless of what their situations are. And here outside of Dallas, Steve had a ranch here at the time. I'm not sure if they still have that property, but they had all the boys come and the mothers come. And what's interesting is the Army is there too. The United States Army is there.
Wow.
So it's a collective effort to just pour into these young men and say, hey, you need to stop doing whatever it is that you're doing, because you're headed down the wrong path. And they separate the moms and the sons at one point, because you know how we are as mothers. We're not going to let people yell at our kids. We're not going to go through all of that. Yes. So watching them and being able to shadow, we were the anchor film and photography crew for that process while it was here. So I was out there at 5 a.m. when the boys woke up and the Army was, get out and do those push-ups now, you know, and really getting on them. And
Wow.
the boys, they started out defiant, but each day of the program, they just broke just a little bit more. And by the time they're done, they have a newfound respect. And Mr.
Wow.
Harvey, when I tell you that man is who he is on TV, he is like that in real life.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
and
Wow.
very passionate about the work, but spending more time with the mothers who were involved with that program. There was a lot of tears and, you know, a lot of prayer over these children. And it just opened my eyes to, you know, I already felt like I needed to be giving back. And I always, like I said, had that empathy type thing with myself, but it really drove home, like, you know, these kids really need us out here.
Wow.
They really, really do.
Wow.
So yeah, I've worked with him, worked with a few R&B singers over here, you know, just doing like video work and you know, different things like that. The gala, we did the gala for you. And
Yeah.
We Are Survivors, when we partnered up with the gala here. A friend of mine, Sir Earl Toon from Kool and the Gang, I didn't expect him to show up there. He called
Wow.
me and said he had just received an award from Obama.
Yeah.
He found out about the gala and
Yeah.
he was on his way. And I said, "Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yeah." Now, this is the man who wrote Celebrate Good Times. So everybody knows and loves
I
him.
saw it. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
He blessed us that night. I didn't expect for him to, you know, perform and
For
the
sure.
different things that he did. I had to kick him off the red carpet because this is our party. This is our party, and you're taking the show. You're still in the spotlight.
Oh,
but
the event
it
was
a
so
good time.
amazing. You really did. Wow.
We
It's
wanted to
really,
make you proud.
I was so amazing. I mean, I was so like, God, thank you. You know, it's the plan from the day one to the last, was the pictures, everything. The video was so amazing. So
I'm
amazing.
glad. I'm
Well, like,
glad.
thank you
I mean,
so
you
much
passed.
for that. I've not been
Well,
able to
you
say.
set the stage.
Sorry?
No, you set the stage, and we
I
wanted to
love
make
it.
you proud.
I love it. I was like, woo! I'm so happy when I saw that. Like, this is wow. This is the, you know, the, I love, don't mind me, I love taste. I love, like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I'm
I'm
so happy.
glad that
Thank
it
you
turned
so
out.
much.
Thank you for that
You are public
opportunity.
relation, I mean, PR for the We Are Survivor Foundation. What is your role in We Are Survivor?
Yes, I actually had a little bit of a
Because you have
promotion
mind
since.
of helping people, you know. That's why.
Yes, I actually had a little bit of a promotion since writing that. It's to co-chair.
Ooh,
But I wear many hats for the foundation. Wanda knows that she can, you know, lean on me, call me anytime. What I love about it is it's not a dictatorship. I mean, she doesn't run it like, you know, only her ideas will flow and nobody else can come to the table with them. She really presents a family-oriented feel. And she's always open to our suggestion, and you know, we come together and we'll vote on different things. But it's more or less just making sure that, you know, the public knows about us, and we're giving our best, you know, putting our best foot forward, making sure that we're not being seen in a bad light, or that things aren't being posted that are inappropriate. You know, we want to know that, we want people to know we're professional all the time when it comes to the foundation. Now, that doesn't mean we're not real. That doesn't mean we don't celebrate on our off time and have adult moments. But when it comes to the foundation, what it stands for, and what we need to be doing to crusade and continue to help families that are, you know, that are dealing with domestic violence issues, we just work hard to maintain a certain status. And honestly, my roles overlap many, because I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas.
When I just look at your website, I say, woo.
There's a lot.
Wow.
People,
I love
people
that.
wonder.
I really
Yeah, they
love
ask
that.
me how I keep it. People ask me, how do you keep it all together? You're doing this, that, and this. And that. I don't even know.
I love it because, you know, why I love it is because a lot of women out there believe that the situation where they're going through right now, or before, or the past, is still holding them down. They still don't believe in their capability of doing something, of moving forward, or maybe they feel like, okay, because of my past, I cannot do it. So when I look at you, read everything about your story, your past, what you've been through, and you are still here, you know, moving around with many things at the same time, which made me like, oh my God, I want to talk to her, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, blessed. Yeah, I mean
Amen.
that's really the only word that I
Yes,
can
Lord.
even use that would sum it up, is completely blessed.
Amen.
Because there had been a number of things that could have put me in a situation or just brought me down to where I wanted to give up. You know, I didn't want to keep trying and pushing forward to put my best foot out there, but it's all God. I mean,
Amen.
it's all
Amen.
God. It is
Amen.
all
Thank you,
Him.
Jesus.
It is all
Amen. Thank
Him.
you,
So
Jesus. I want to ask about your show, Potpourri. Tell me more about the show.
potpourri, certainly. Potpourri is a concept right now that is a podcast.
Mm,
And it's based on the concept that we've all seen potpourri, right? We've all seen it before. Um, Sometimes it comes in reds and yellows and oranges and really pretty colors. And I've seen potpourri that also has pine cones in it, and it's a darker,
mm-hmm.
darker colors. To me, that's what life is like. We have the days like right now, it's beautiful and it's sunny in Dallas, Texas. But then yesterday it was just raining and thunderstorming.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you equate that to life, still, you have your ups and downs where you're just
Yeah.
happy, and then you'll have these other moments where you can be just feeling the lowest and you're just down, to the ground. So life and potpourri, to me,
Okay.
it was just kind of like a metaphor, for that concept. But in the end, life is fragrant, right? Because we much
Mm-hmm.
rather be here living
Absolutely.
and enjoying our family. And that's the fragrant part of it.
Wow.
The
Wow.
beauty in it all. So that's where Life is Potpourri came from. My mom actually came up with that name. First she said,
Wow.
well, call it potpourri. And when I just got to thinking about it, I said, yeah, life is potpourri, huh? And that's it. Life is potpourri. So
It's beautiful. It is. It is.
thank you. We right
Wow.
now it's a podcast. New episodes launch on Saturdays,
Mm.
and it is on Apple Podcasts and on Podbean. So my husband does help to produce that, and we are
Wow.
getting ready. Our talk show was set to launch in April, but
Mm.
the vision that I have for it, I said, oh, I'm okay with delaying, till we get through the COVID and see what's going to happen, because I don't want to come out with less than what I
What
see
is in your
for the
mind? Yeah,
show.
absolutely.
Yeah, what
Mm-hmm.
I see
Mm-hmm.
for the show. And then we're always filming for We Are Survivors talk show. And
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I enjoy that so much too.
Wow.
So, just trying to make sure everything balances out correctly.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I love it. That's something I want to ask. There was a time you wrote on your page about that you are diagnosed with lupus. Is it lupus?
Lupus, yeah,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Yes. And what do you feel about it? And tell us more about it.
Okay. I was diagnosed with lupus in October of 2019. However, a year and a half up to
I
that
love the
time,
power that's the way you brought it. When I saw it on Facebook, I was like, she's so different. You're so strong.
oh my gosh, well, I appreciate that so much. I just knew, when something's wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
people know when something is wrong with them. And for a whole year and a half, I kept having, like now, my sinuses stay inflamed. And it's funny because when my sinuses, or I go into what's called a lupus flare, when my
Mm.
sinuses flare up, it would be weird because it would trigger this pain on my back,
Mm.
at the top of my back. And I just thought, this has got to be the craziest thing. It's almost saying you got a toothache and your toe is hurting. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what's
like
the
two things are
correlation?
different things. Yeah.
Didn't make any sense.
Mm.
But I was going to the doctor, and when I tell you, they were sending me to the allergist, they were coming back at first with nothing. They were sending me here, there, and everywhere. And these doctors, I know people in the medical profession, and I don't want to seem like all of it's a farce, but we all know that big pharma and money rules the world. So I felt after a while like they're sending me everywhere and I don't have an answer. What is this all about? So finally, now these sinus infections, it feels like an infection, but there's nothing coming out of my nose that makes you think you're having just facial pain. So I just kept saying, I just got to keep trying. Well, I had been seeing the same doctor since I moved to Dallas in 2001.
Wow.
So my husband had started going to a new doctor that he enjoyed. And he said, why don't you just come over here, just get a fifth, sixth opinion, because by then that's what it felt like.
Wow.
And let's just see what's going on. She diagnosed me in 3 weeks. Just like that. And so I immediately fired the doctor that I had for 80 years because that's because I had her all this time with no answers.
Is the former doctor couldn't test you or no test, nothing?
Oh, they were doing that, but I don't know why that wasn't coming back. Because I don't know if maybe over time the numbers were changing, but it just never came up in a discussion that was a possibility at all.
Wow.
So what makes me unique in this at this particular moment is that my symptoms aren't typical lupus symptoms.
Amen.
If the diagnosis say, and this is just random because I don't know all the names of the blood tests and the exact percentages, but say you need a number of 185 to be diagnosed with lupus. My numbers were coming back 185.5. So the doctor was saying, I don't know what you're doing, but you barely have a diagnosis. I don't know how you barely have anything. Either you
Wow.
have it or you don't, in my eyes.
Wow.
But she said, LaNelle, and see, I have a younger sister who has lupus, and she looks very ill. The difference between her and myself is that she's diabetic. So she had the diabetes first, then the lupus. So I'm not on any medication to manage it at the moment. They were just like, I don't know what you're doing. On the good side, just keep that up. If there's bad things, if there's bad things you need to stop doing, then stop them. But right now I'm in a manageable state. So I just, again, attribute it to God looking out for me. But I just implore women, I need women to make sure you're staying on top of it. If you feel like something's wrong with you, get to the bottom of it. Don't let people tell you that it's all in your mind, or we don't see anything, and then you go home and you feel it. Because I woke up many mornings crying. I literally thought at times I'm dying and I don't know if they're going to catch this in time or not. I don't know what's happening to me. So
because I believe something also, that because you keep on thinking positive side of it. And you did not allow the name to put you down. You still stand up, yes, even though I don't know what is it, but I am here. I'm still believing in life. That's something that's life for me. So it keep bringing the positive feeling out of you out, and everything that will bring the negative, because sometimes you may diagnose somebody with something, and because of the feeling, because of the negative that people accept to go through them, it's like garbage. It's like when a ship is on the water and there's a hole that the water is going through the ship, automatically the ship is going down. But when you avoid the water to go into your ship, definitely it's still standing on top of this water.
Exactly. And it's definitely about mindset. Just making sure you're taking care of yourself. I know that I was a glutton. I'm a self-proclaimed glutton. I know that I love to eat. But it came about where there just needed to be some changes. You can't, eat the junk food all the time and things like that, and take the toxins into your body and expect that your body's going to constantly do the right thing. So just some changes. I had to give up a lot of what I love, and I have a sweet tooth out of this world. So I had to give up all of the junk food. But you know, if it'll help me be here for my grandbaby and maybe my great grands, you know,
Wow.
that's what I'm gonna do.
Yes, thank God. Thank God. Yes, Lord. What is the meaning of life to you in your own definition, your own dictionary? What's the meaning of life?
The meaning of life. That's an interesting question.
I
It's an
know.
interesting question. I've always felt like we're just passing through here. We're completely just passing through here, you know, and I know that God, I just feel his presence constantly. I don't know, I guess, what the exact meaning of life is, and even in my words, but I know that we're just passing through here,
Amen.
you know, and I think if people understood that, they would do better by each other, you know, instead of thinking that this is just it, you know, we're going to be here. This is just how it goes while we're here in the present. But I've always had that feeling and that belief that this is such a temporary scenario, and we're just passing through to a greater and beautiful place.
Amen.
I hope that people will just, I don't know, it's so much. It's hard to even put into words because there's just so much going on, and it's so much negativity. And it's interesting how, you know, we see the prophecies and we feel like things are playing out, and we feel like the book is playing out, and that, you know, we won't be here long. The kingdom of heaven is coming. God is going to return. You know, we all know that these things are happening. And it's funny because I had a conversation with Tiffany with We Are Survivors the other day.
Yeah.
And she said, isn't it funny how the book tells us that it's going to happen? It just doesn't tell us what exactly, in what order, or what exactly is coming our way. And so when she said that, I was like, it just really hit home even more so to me that people really need to wake up, because we're not going to, this is such a temporary situation. Such a temporary situation. So I just want people to get it together. You know, I don't understand why it's such a hateful situation all the time. It doesn't have to be like that.
Amen.
You know.
Amen. Wow. Thank you so much. Yes, Lord. Do you believe in God?
I do. I do.
Who is
Very much
God to
so.
you?
And God is all things to me. He's at everything, everywhere. He's all things to me.
Amen.
He saturates me from head to toe in everything that I lay my hands
Yes, Lord.
on. I have a problem. I'll be very transparent. I have a problem with man-made intrusion on the truth. But the truth is what it is. And my problem is when men try to twist it for whatever their gain is, you know, and they try to use it to mislead people. People ask me, I had a lady ask me, did I believe in the Bible? And it brought up a very interesting conversation, because even though it was spirit led, it was composed and written and reproduced, and we know books are missing, and we know a lot of different things. So I just choose to completely submit and believe in God.
Amen.
That's really it. I don't want to, you know, I feel like everybody has their own belief on it, and I take from that what I can. But I feel like the best thing is just believing for your own self and knowing that for yourself. And I don't know, the first scripture that I was able to memorize, and it came so easy. Like we all know John 3:16. You hear that in church. God so loved the world. Right? Everybody knows that. As much as I tried to maybe study the book, learn it, Psalm 69:1 was the first scripture that hit me so deep that I could just recite it and know it and just whatever.
Wow.
You know, and so I think everybody finds their truth or their piece of whatever works in there to just touch their soul at the time and keep them connected to the Creator. You know, just keep them connected to the Creator. I had the enemy sent, and I hope I, like I said, can be extra transparent with you, woman of God. I know you understand. The enemy couldn't take me out on so many different levels. He sent a demon for me. And I heard him when he spoke to me. I heard the demon when he spoke to me in my ear, and he sounded like I'm sounding to you right
Absolutely.
now, loud and clear, loud and clear. And he said to me, your heart just stopped beating. And what are you going to do?
You say?
He said, the demon said to me, I was on the couch. I got up and went in my kitchen, and the demon said to me, your heart just stopped beating. What are you going to do?
Wow.
You're getting ready to die right now. And I could hear it in my ear like a person was talking to me, like I'm talking to you right now.
It's like that, sister. A lot of people don't know it, but it's so deep. I'm very happy the way you say it, you measure it.
When I tell you the power of God in my life, when that happened to me, my eyesight, it was like I was looking in a tunnel. I pulled back from my body.
Jesus.
And the tunnel, I've not shared this with very many people.
Yeah.
Because you gotta be in a good spiritual place to even understand.
Yeah.
But this tunnel, my soul or my spirit stepped back from my vision to where it was a long black tunnel, and I could barely see. And for 2 months after that time, I went into severe anxiety attacks to where I could hear him, and I was running to the hospital every 5 minutes. And these people were like, ma'am, there is nothing wrong with you. You are just fine. And I said, no, I'm dying right now. And I was shaking so bad, like I was cold. My whole body was frigid, but there wasn't a bump up on my skin.
Your body.
And he kept coming for me and kept coming for me until one day I got up, and a friend of mine had just gave me some blessed oil, and I got up and I cried. This was when I hit that rock bottom situation shortly after that. And I took my Bible, which I have sitting right here, right now. When I opened up those pages, I landed randomly on the front, and it said, and this was after my daughter had taken me to the hospital 2 times in a row on this particular night. I had my baby out there till the wee hours of the morning for these people to tell me nothing was wrong with me. The first few pages that I landed on said, the enemy will attack you, try to attack you physiologically and physically, so that you're running and getting medications, you're doing all this stuff, and you're taking all this witchcraft into your body, and it's going to destroy you from the inside out.
Yes.
I went in my room, I took the blessed oil that I had, and
Lord
I poured it on me. And I cried out and I said, God, I don't know what is happening, but this is not for LaNelle. This thing that is trying to take me out, Father, is not for LaNelle. And when I tell you, I must have went to sleep, and I didn't care. I had oil drenched on me from my head
Lord
to my
Jesus.
Because it's the power. It's the power. And I slept for what felt like 2 or 3 days. But when I woke up, and this had happened early in the morning, it was dark outside, and I've been delivered ever since. There is nothing nobody can tell me about my relationship with God, whether I'm in church every Sunday or not, because I know he is active, and he's got me protected, and he's right there by my side all the time. So all I can do is tell those around me, if you don't have that relationship, you better find it. You better find it. You sure better find it, because it's real. It is completely real. And I've not told a lot of people that. I've not told a lot of people. I'm not ashamed of it, but I don't, like I said, you have to be in a good spiritual place to know,
understand it. It's not everybody. Sometimes when I'm talking, I feel like, God, these people can't get it.
Right.
They can't get it. Sometimes when my eyes just see something like, God, I can't share this with any woman because they can't get it. Because people don't understand the spiritual ability. Lucifer is a spiritual being. God is a spiritual being. Angels, they are spiritual beings. They have access to this body. So it not depend on what you feed this body to push the negative being away from you. But when you accept it, because you that time you're afraid of what is said. So when we accept that, then it starts coming in to make his word manifest. The same thing applies to God. When you accept God's words, the word start manifest itself inside of you positively.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And the more you just fill yourself up with it, I was very green pea. I didn't grow up in a constant church environment.
Oh
I
my
remember
Jesus.
us going to church a lot when I was young. Some things
Yes, Lord
happened. My mom moved away
Jesus.
from home a lot, and then it seemed like we didn't go, but it never really stopped me from feeling that there was a connection, that I need to be prayerful and
Yes,
needed to
Lord.
be covering, my family in that sort of way. It was much later, again, much later, that I started really developing that solid relationship. I started in attending Believers International Ministries here in Dallas, and I was fed so much, and learned
Amen.
so much with the apostle of that church,
Wow.
and just thankful
Yes,
because I
Lord.
would have not been prepared when that demon came to me and said what he had to say,
Yes.
and just kept attacking me constantly and making me feel like the world's spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour while I'm standing still,
Yes,
and
Lord.
just doing everything it can to mess with my psyche and
Mm.
my mental stability. I wouldn't have known to go to the oil. I got a bottle
Yes.
in there now, honey, ready
Yeah.
for COVID.
Some people won't know that, sister. They won't know,
Yeah.
and it keep on coming, and
Mhm.
putting them down on to negative things happen. I always
Mhm.
want people to understand Christianity is not about religion.
Mhm.
It's relationship with that
Yes.
supernatural being itself. When you have the relationship with him, it's it's huge, sister.
Mhm. Mhm. It's a
I'm
good
so
thing.
happy for you to share this with me. I'm happy that to see somebody who could understand this, really, because sometimes it's so hard to come online and let people understand that, hey, listen, this is how it is.
Mhm.
And people take things, the words from the Bible, and twist it in a way to satisfy their needs, in a way to satisfy the purpose of the idea. So I always pray that God, no matter how you want to use me, don't tell me to have a church, because I will never want to have it.
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
prefer to go from one door to one street other street to preach to people than to have a church.
Yeah. I understand. I understand it.
Wow.
That's why I
I'm
love
so
what you
happy.
do. That's why I love what you do, and just I encourage you even, I
Thank you.
encourage you even to not give up and to keep pushing and to just keep being that light.
Mm,
You're doing marvelous things over here,
thank you
and
so
I
much.
know that it's tiring when you're someone, you can feel the weight
Mm,
sometimes, and feel like, am I being recognized? And it's not necessarily about the awards and different things like this, but am I doing good,
mm,
and
mm.
I'm giving my best to try to help others and different things like that, and I just and it's more about the encouragement. It's
Absolutely.
not about you. Yeah, it's not about walking around with that star on your chest like, I
Mm,
just
mm,
fed
mm,
100 people. It's about just getting that encouragement to keep feeding 100 people,
absolutely.
and try to feed 200 and
Hmm.
300 if you can. And
Absolutely.
there's times when people such as myself and others who are watching this broadcast, who are out there,
We have a lot
doing
of
what
people
they
who have been
can.
watching. I'm so happy. I was like, this
Yeah.
is so amazing.
Yeah. We just got to keep encouraging each other because this is hard out here.
Mm,
This is very rough, but we just can't give up. We're an army in ourselves. We're an
amen.
army.
Amen.
So,
Sister, do you believe in soul? Soul.
um, I believe in soul. Yes. Yes. And I,
What
and
does
I
soul
feel
means to
like,
you?
and I'm gonna lean forward so I can grab a little tissue, okay? Because me getting a little emotional earlier, I almost had my nose running. Hang on now, hang on. Okay. Um, well, I think probably that's something and I'll be honest, between like soul and spirit, maybe to me, I feel like there's definitely a life force within us that's gonna shed
Mhm.
and go where, who knows where, when our assignment is done here. Um, so yeah, I do believe in that. I believe we are all energy. and soul and spirit. To me, all of that goes hand in hand, because there's definitely something in us that is got a direct line to God and the Holy Spirit. So he's got it, if we're just fleshly and he can't just talk to us because it would just destroy us already, our soul, I feel like our soul, our spirit, that energy that keeps us grounded in him. I definitely believe in that.
Amen. Do you believe life after death?
I want to. I believe, I believe in that. And I say that because I know a young lady who told me her mother had passed away. And she said, we don't go anywhere when we die. We're just like a dead battery. We just stop working. That was one of the most horrible things that I'd ever heard. I don't want to believe that. I think it would be really bad to go through the things that we go through and endure on a day-to-day basis, which aren't always the best. To have that be the outcome, I'm a dead battery and it's just over when it's over. Oh no, I'm going to keep the hope and faith that yes, I am working towards them heavenly gates, the pearly gates. That would give me a little bit more hope to keep moving than feeling like I'm just a dead battery and it's just over when I close my eyes. So yes, I very much believe in the afterlife.
Yes.
I don't know per se where we're headed or what he'll have for us to do next.
There's life after death. I love that.
Yeah.
I don't if I start talking about it, I don't want to talk about it. I want to ask you. It's so deep.
Yeah.
It's so deep. It's so deep, sister. It's so deep. Life after death.
Yeah,
And a lot of people believe that
I mean,
when we give up this life, it's gone. And when we look at the Bible and when we look at the revelation of who God is, when we go back to the Genesis, say, let us make a man in our own image. The Bible says he make them male and female, but one person, which is Adam. And it goes again to the second Genesis, where he now made a man of this particular elements from earth and took the first Genesis, the spirit, the life in it, so that it can dwell on this surface of the earth, because the Spirit of God cannot feel, cannot touch anything. God does not need any permission to enter the house. Angel does not need permission to to open the door. So that's the spiritual being. That's his real being inside of us, the energy, the soul inside this body. So when this body is gone, you are still living, but you cannot. It's only people who can see beyond can see those beings.
Yes,
I saw my grandmother several times. I saw some people that are very close to me. They have been. I prayed. I want to see them. I saw them many times. When I share, people like, how does it matter? How could you see that? I'll just smile, but I can't share everything. But sometimes they call me somewhere that, oh, Deborah, somebody died, and I just go there. But I can see the soul is going just beside them. But I just kept quiet.
Bless the Lord. Yeah, it's gifts, and it is just that, you have to be in a certain place and handle certain things. God's not going to give everybody the same gift.
No, it's not everybody can handle it. It's not everybody.
No, they cannot. And
sometimes when I tell my husband, like, look there, look at your right, do you see anything? He said, no. It's a place, don't scare me. I'm gonna go inside now, right now. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Let's just keep quiet. So when I keep on looking that side, I say, can you just concentrate what we do? I say, okay, I'm sorry. So you say something? So I keep quiet.
Well, my philosophy in that aspect is, if you are there, I don't need to know that. It's okay. just sit down. If that's what you're gonna do, you don't have to tell me you're in the room. You don't have to move stuff around.
I got you. Wow.
But you can feel the presence. You can feel the presence. You can feel when something is off in your atmosphere.
Absolutely.
I know when something has come into my space that is like, and a lot of people do. They just don't want to. They don't want to realize the facts about what it is.
They don't want to realize it because they're not connected. They will feel. There's no way you won't feel it. You'll feel something strange, but you don't know what is it. They just kept quiet because they're not connected with their real being. Our real being is so powerful. We're
Yeah.
so strong. And it's so amazing to understand. Like, I always want people to understand, like, the self-identification of who you are. When you understand
Mm-hmm.
who you are, then it will help you to move that, okay, I was created to do this. I was
Mm-hmm.
made to make this. I was this, I was this, I was that.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I tell somebody, I told somebody that I can only, when I sleep for 5 hours, it's okay for me. After 5 hours, I can do 20 things at the same time. I'm okay. I'm really fine. They were like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you do? How do you handle? I mean, handle all those things? I said, well, I was made for it. If I'm not able to do it, or if it's not my job to do it on the earth, I won't be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was
That's
made for
true.
the purpose. When I'm doing it, I feel okay. If I don't do it, I feel like something's wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like if more people knew their God-given purpose, they wouldn't be
They
with
have
idle
to.
time to do everything,
Absolutely.
else. You
Absolutely,
know,
sister.
there's too much time on your hands if you have to constantly be causing problems for somebody
Mm-hmm.
else, or,
Wow.
feeling hateful or feeling jealous or envious. It's because you just don't know your walk yet or what your path
Absolutely.
is. Because if you
Absolutely.
did, you'd be focused on that and you'd be
Mm.
able to freely do that. And you
Yes,
wouldn't
Lord.
have so much time to do all of these other things trying to pass time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
A lot
it's
of things
definitely
is
something.
so it's behind the scene, but we
Hmm.
can't go there today. It's so deep, sister. It is.
Right.
It is. It is. It is. What is your
Yeah.
advice to women around the world going through abuses right now?
My advice to women around the world: stand up for yourself.
Amen.
Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your right to be healthy, to be
Mm,
loved properly, to be. This comes from a place. There's been a lot of. I mean, we all know that because of COVID-19, everybody is shut in. There's a
mm,
lot of the domestic violence rates are going up. The child abuse
mm,
rates are going up. People are now trapped in their homes with their abuser.
mm.
You know, I'm not telling anyone to kill their abuser or anything like that. But let me say this much. Until I stood up for myself,
Mm,
and it was a physical situation.
mm,
Like, he had me up by my throat.
mhm.
And there had been so many times before that happened that I sulked. I kind of took it, I just, oh, woe is me. No, no, this is a new day and age. This is a
Mm.
new day and age. We have got to find our strength, ladies.
Amen. Thank you, Jesus.
Find your strength and stand up for yourself.
Yes, Lord
It's not
Jesus.
it's not easy. I'm seeing a lot of domestic violence groups where the conversations are in there and these women are posting more or less
Yeah.
pictures of different things they're going through, and the other women will come on there and they'll say, I'm sorry you're going through this,
Mm.
and kind of soothe their wounds and stuff, and I understand. I'm not knocking that
Yes, Lord.
either, but at no point very little am I seeing the women just you're going to have to fight back at some point
Yes.
in time.
Yes.
You cannot continue to allow these people or this person to constantly put their hands on you and you just sit back and just keep taking it, honey. You've got to do something different. You've got to
Mm.
step out. You got to be unpredictable.
Yes,
Don't
Lord.
be so predictable that this individual keeps doing the things
Mm.
that they're doing because they already know how you're going to react.
Mm.
Don't be fearful. Don't be afraid. Yes, it's hard and times are getting harder out here. But when I left my scenario, honey, I packed my car and my baby and I left.
Yes, Lord.
I didn't have stacks and stacks of money. He had depleted all of what I tried to have as a savings.
Mm.
I didn't know for certain. I had one good girlfriend who said, come, you can come where I'm at. And I knew it was going to be an uphill battle, but baby girl, there is life beyond what you're going through right now.
Yes.
You can either stay in that scenario and now each day it's getting bigger and bigger. This person is going to kill you eventually.
Mm.
So I need the women around the world to know that until you do something different, you're going to get the same results every time. It's going to be tough for you to take those first steps to get to wherever you got to go, but
Mm.
God will see you through it.
Yes, Lord.
Get your faith right, pray, mean it, be sincere, and change your circumstances for yourself, because if you haven't noticed, people aren't just going to hand it They're not just going to hand it to you. They're not just going to hand it to you, honey. You're going to have to take what's rightfully yours. And a peace of mind goes a long way. Once you get your mind right, your spirit at peace, honey, the sky, the world, it's the limit.
Yes, Lord.
You can go after everything else that you feel like was stolen from you. But if you stay in this scenario, and especially where your kids are being abused as well, somebody sooner or later is going to lose their life. They're going to lose their life. So I just, I'm not saying everybody take the same route that I did, because I had to hit them back. I hit him back, and I did whatever I could at that moment to get out of that situation. I grabbed whatever I could, because I felt this time he was choking me so bad that I might not make it out this time. So I reached and I grabbed for whatever I could. But let me tell you, when I dinged him back one good time, I think it shocked him. It shocked him. He had a whole newfound respect. He went back to where he came from, because he was just visiting. He never put his hands on me again. So what I'm saying in that is, do something different. You've got to be a little bit unpredictable to change your scenario. That's it. I love my sisters out here. These videos that are circulating with these people, beating on and bruising, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. I tell Wanda all the time, I wish we were Power Rangers, because if I had the pink suit on, baby, I'm coming to get you, girl. And I'm coming, I'm telling you, but that's just not how life is. We've got to take a stand for ourselves and our children before they grow up thinking that's okay. Now they're becoming the abuser. I've seen women be so severely abused, they became the abuser in their relationships. So we've got to stop it now, get help, counseling, direction.
Amen.
Let God come in, clean it up, so that we can move forward. So ladies, I love y'all so much. I love you so much out here. I just want you to think about yourself, think about you before you don't have your life to think for yourself. It's hard. It's so hard. It is.
Wow. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you so much. It's really.
You're so welcome. I just hope that somebody out there is listening, and somebody hears that and just takes it to heart. And there's a lot of organizations out here. Obviously the Queen here, she has a lot of possible resources, direction. We are survivors. We're out here. You can find us on Facebook. We have a group out there as well. My information is there through my website. If you have to reach out, it can be a secret. Nobody has to know. I'm right here in Dallas. I had somebody reach out to me from Spain in the middle of the night. I must have got my phone and said, "Who is this?" But let me tell you, if I didn't scramble, I've never even been to Spain. If I didn't scramble to try to find some information and some resources for this person, reach out to somebody and let them try to help you. So that's all I got.
Wow. Thank you so much, sister. Really, it's amazing to have you here, and I'm so happy to hear from you today. It's really.
Oh my gosh, I know,
amazing.
And I can't wait to hug you.
Happy.
Yeah, I can't wait to hug you, and I'm gonna come when the snow is there. I need to come when the snow is.
Yes, next winter.
Come on. Yeah,
we don't want snow now.
Okay, well, I'll wait till you're ready. I know you've had enough.
You come now. The snow, oh my God. 8 months of winter, it's too much.
Yeah. Well, we'll be in the 100-degree weather in a minute. Dallas is revving up for the summer pretty soon, and it'll be sometimes 10 days of just 100-degree weather. It's very hard on the elderly and homes that don't have proper air conditioning and different things like that, and the homeless out here without water. So a lot of times we'll have the water drives and do what we can to try to alleviate that, because it's rough. You can see the heat waves coming up off the concrete. It's so hot when summer comes. So
Thank you so much, sister. You said something about your book. Your book is coming.
Yes, it is. It's been a work in progress, and I think because I started it a few years back, and I think God kind of silenced me. I had moments where I was going through writer's block, but I had to go through some other things before it would tie it up the proper way. So I know now that that's what that, what that was. And I was trying not to get frustrated with myself. Like, why can't I get past this certain point? There had been some moments that I couldn't even just remember, little black holes in spaces in my childhood. And I think that's because of different things that I had endured. Like, obviously watching my mother go through it, that perpetrator turned it on to my 5-year-old sister one night when my mom was at work. And after that, there was some other stunts with family, friends, and so-called uncles, that did little things here and there. And my mind had blocked out. It had blocked out a number of different areas. And all of a sudden, it just kind of, some things started coming back to me, as I was helping the foundation. The more I would be interacting with the foundation, the more I would be able to recall. And it was almost like counseling myself at the same time we're helping other people. So yeah, it's going to publish later on this year, and I will send you a copy as soon as it gets here.
I can't wait for that.
I'll send you a copy. But it's a mixture of things. I've talked to my publisher, and at first she said, you have a series, but I don't want to talk about each individual thing and make it a book. I don't want that to be my life. I need the victory.
Amen.
The victory story. So we're going to start here, and we're going to talk about the bad, but then we're going to turn this into a love story. And then we're going to turn this into some empowerment and the victory. And then I'm going to be done with that. It's going to be one book for that part. And then, who's to say I may write some other things, but I don't want to keep talking about that because that's not who I am today.
Wow.
Wow.
Is the same website? Is it the same website that that people can contact you? The same website?
The website is at lrenfrofaulk.com. My email is empower, EMPOWER, the letter U, like empower you, at lrenfrofaulk.com. Okay. And so they can always, contact through there if they want to. I have a Facebook group called Life is Potpourri. And it's an encouragement and support group, and right now it's small. These things are fairly new, like the new Instagram and things like that, fairly new. But I like it because it's intimate, it's small, it leaves room, no judgment zone. People want to come in there and share some things, they're more than willing to do that. Mostly women in there, and I think a lot of times the men seem or think they're weak, seem like they come across weak if they've gone through certain things, but they're more than welcome to, we're not acting like they don't go through things as well. My hashtag is Surthrivers Undefeated. And the reason why I say Surthriver is because we're all surviving a number of things and trying to thrive in life. So Surthrivers Undefeated is kind of like a hashtag for the people that I use, the little messages I use in the group. Because we're all going through something. Some things might be small. I mean, you might feel like it's just a bill you're trying to pay. It's stressing you out a little bit, but then you got other people in there who had a death or something that's, needs a lot more attending to, but we're still all going through something. Every household is going through something. And if people would also understand that, there's not one household on the planet that's not dealing with something.
Without anything, yes, it's true. It's true.
So if people would also take that into consideration when they're dealing with each other, might be a lot more harmonious.
It's true. Can I ask you one question before you go?
You can.
What is good marriage? What is a good marriage? Definition of good marriage to you?
Oh my goodness, this man is in my life right now. Although, we have our ups and downs because we're fleshly and we're a couple, and we argue over little silly stuff like who ate the last ice cream bar. But he feeds me spiritually. He prays with me. He teaches me. Wow. And so he'll tell you, my whistle, I didn't know that this little thing right here was a whistle. I have to send you a picture, right?
Okay, yeah, I saw it. Yeah, down, yeah.
His is intact completely, but he's a deacon of the church. He's been born and raised in the church.
Wow.
So in his prayer, he would discover that he's my covering. And the reason why my whistle was broken is because this is the call on legions of angels in times of need. I wasn't equipped. I didn't know what that meant. I was green pea in the church world, the learning the Bible, how to act as a deaconess and some of these other titles that come with all of that. And a good marriage, a good foundation is obviously God first. You have to have that platform, and you have to understand that covenant is between you, your spouse, and God. And I didn't know that in the 15-year scenario. I knew we were great together, but we didn't have that foundation. And my husband, definitely, he knows the book. He makes sure that he covers me and prays for me and lays hands on me. And I've learned how to do the same effectively for him in this process. We've been together for 6 years now. And again, doesn't mean you don't want to beat them up from time to time, No, not literally. Obviously, I'm crusading for domestic violence right now. I don't beat them up literally. But that's just what a good marriage is. I think being able to put God first, being able to listen to each other, to communicate effectively, not just communicate to hear yourself talk, but to hear each other, and to just build together. Neither one of us had anything. He's got a powerful testimony as well. We were both at rock bottom when we met, and God brought us together. We had 2 pennies to rub together, literally. And we would take those 2 pennies and go buy a coffee and split it. Now we've together, we've rebuilt everything we lost and then some, but it's a different type of appreciation when God is involved.
Amen.
Different type.
Thank you, Jesus. Yeah. Yes, Lord. I love that. What time do you consider being disrespectful in marriage?
What time? Say that again.
What time do you consider as being respectful in the marriage?
What time do I?
You think that it's disrespectful? Like you feel like, okay, this time it's disrespect for you in marriage.
Disrespectful in marriage. I can only go back to my first.
I mean, generally,
marriage.
not in you, but in generally, that you feel like, okay, this in a marriage, it shouldn't be this.
It shouldn't be this. It definitely shouldn't be verbal abuse, physical by any means. I mean, you should be able to talk to each other and not be just so. I mean, people get angry. I won't say that. People do get angry, but there is still a line of no return. You can maybe argue a little bit up to a certain point, but when that certain point becomes you calling me out of my name or becoming physical or something, then now we've gotten to a point where you're completely disrespectful. Being an adulterer and running around like you're just gonna have the cream of the crop and you're just gonna do whatever. LaNelle's not going. I'm not going. Okay, so if you feel like, if you think you're going to rip and run and you want to do all of that and you want to have multiple relationships, that I'm not the woman for you. What's funny is me and my husband have an inside joke, and I tell him all the time, just like this, let me find out. And he'll laugh and he'll like, what? Let me find out.
Let me find out myself.
Yeah. And it can be, he could just be sitting over there playing something on his phone, but are you texting? Let me find out.
Let me find out.
And he'll just be like, you're so crazy. Because I know he's not up to anything, but that's just kind of like a little, inside joke. But no, there's just respect. Just respect each other. Think about God every time you get ready to do something bad, because that covenant is not just between me and you. It's between me, you, and God. So are you going to disrespect God? You need to think about that before you make that decision. You gonna disrespect God?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thinking about the covenant as I've grown still, because you have to think, when we got married, I had just, like I said, hit rock bottom from a different relationship. I mean, there was a little time, but that relationship again was a verbally abusive situation. So I had a couple domestic violence situations, you know, and you have to rewire your thought process. You know, so when my husband now would say or do something, I might have subconsciously tapped into that past relationship and reacted and not give him his own, you know, this is a brand new person and I'm holding you accountable without even knowing it because of the scar tissue left by somebody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just respect. Total respect.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you believe? I mean, how much time should you spend with your single friends due to your marriage?
How much time? Well, I'm a homebody. I mean, I'm home for the most part. Everybody in our circle is married. And I have family now since that's moved to Dallas. So the majority of the time that we're in circles, we're with family anyway. I do have a few single girlfriends, but I'm thankful that they respect my boundaries and I'm not gonna mess up my good thing. I might have messed my good thing up a while back before I knew what a good thing was. But right now I'm not messing up my good thing.
Wow.
So I'm liable to go home even when he's looking at me like, why did you come home? You could have, no, you know, I'm good. You know, from experience.
I understand. Can you still be friends with the opposite sex, even though you're married?
I believe so, if your intentions are good. One of my very best, I have two very close male friends. One of them, you kind of acquainted with Charles De Silva. Charles is one of my very best friends, one of the first people I met when I moved to Dallas. We started working together and we've always been able to maintain that kind of like a brotherly, sisterly relationship. You know, I've met his relationship partners and they've met my relationship partners and we've, you know, been fine with that. I have another male friend who they know my husband very well, you know, and so I think it's all in how you handle that interaction. You know, I think it's, I mean, everybody can claim that it's a friend and be doing everything but the right thing. But in my particular case, I'm not in that space any longer. I'm not in that space to want to think about that kind of, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm in my mid 40s at this point. So I don't want to do all of that. I don't want to do that stuff anymore, you know? So I think it's possible. Don't abuse it. Yeah, don't abuse the situation, you know? But,
okay.
Yeah.
How much sex should be expected in marriage?
How much sex?
Yeah, should be expected in a marriage.
I got married for in-house. So, you know, if I wanted to be single and rip and run, we wouldn't be married right now. But I think sex should be available when I want it because you're my husband and we live together. And the law said,
yeah, because some people feel like we shouldn't talk about it, that it's some women complain, some men complain. And I always like when they ask questions like that, I wanted to share with anybody that comes to line, like, what do you think about it?
No, I think, I mean, it's beautiful in marriage, especially with the one you love.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like at some point, if you don't, it is going to come from somebody else.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's not what you want to see happen. So, and if there is some sort of a dysfunction or reasoning that it's not happening, then I mean, there's sources out there that can help you maybe unravel why that is. But I love my husband and he knows the rules and regulations. If he don't, handle his business, we're going to have a problem. Him and I are going to have a problem. We're going to sit down and talk about it.
Wow. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, sister. I'm so happy to have you here. And we we touch every point that I really want us to touch. And I'm so happy
Good.
to have you. Thank you so much for being here with me on Live Assurance. May God bless you, sister.
Oh, I thank you so much for thinking of me, for including me in a number of beautiful things. I wish you the best from way over here again, and I
Thank you
can't
so
wait
much.
until we're all together
Yes.
in the same space. So until next time, ma'am.
Mm, thank you so much.
Okay, love you so much.
Thank you, sister.
Okay,
Bye.
have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you.